I'm sharing a couple of beautiful floral cards using products from Spellbinders. Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. Okay, so I am going to be creating two floral cards like I mentioned. This is the 3D embossing folder, and then you can cut out your images. I think this is the layered thank you bouquet. I have everything listed and linked for you guys below in the description. And so I am going to use Alabaster cardstock. I'm going to lay out the die cut. I want to cut out the biggest image, but there's also a sentiment. I think I die cut that out, but I ended up not using it. It says thank you. And then you have some of those smaller flowers as well. But I want to do a big piece, so I want that big die cut. Then I'm going to place my plate on top, run that through using my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cut machine, and it's going to cut out. Now there's also a layering stencil that goes with this, so you can color all of these images. And I'm going to do kind of a different color scheme. I'm not going to bring in greens for the leaves. I'm going to do browns. So kind of fun, kind of different, but I do like how it turned out. So I have my grip mate here from scrapbook.com, and I'm going to start with my layering stencils. This might be the layered thank you bouquet, and then the other die cut and embossing folder might be the thank you bouquet. Anyways, I will have it linked for you guys and listed. So I'm sorry I have it written down, but I didn't write down what was what. Okay, so I am using some Pinkfresh Studio inks, and I have the little mini ink cubes that come in the collection. So I am using the Soul of Provence, that's the little collection, but I'm using Candy, Violet, and Soft Lilac. And then I will be using the Wild Truffles, which is the browns. I think I used all of the browns. And then for the pinks, it's under the Fairy Dust, I think is what it might be called. So Ballet Slipper and Bubblegum. So yeah, Candy Violet, Soft Lilac, those are the purples. Ballet Slipper, Bubblegum, those are the pinks. And I'm just using a tiny little blender brush, and I'm just going to give this a nice good light color and then darker at the base of the petals. And you can see I'm kind of holding my stencil down. I don't know that that's necessary. I felt like I needed to because there's dimension, and so the stencil is kind of lifted up in some of the areas, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't like over stencil, and I don't even know if I could, but I was just taking a precaution because I did not want to have to start over. So we're just going to go through with all of these layering stencils, and I can't remember how many they are, but we'll figure it out. So here is a light pink. So this is going to be a purple and pink flower. Like I said, I'm using the Alabaster cardstock from Spellbinders, and I'm also using that with a white cardstock, and then again the browns. I love how this turned out. I think it is really pretty, very different than my normal style, but sometimes I need to pull myself out of the box, out of my own box that I'm in all the time, and try something different. So I really like how this turned out. The embossing, the 3D embossing folder. Oh, the embossing folder. There's a different one. It's called Polka Dot and Posy. Oh, I can't remember. I can't even read my own writing. But it has two shapes or designs, sorry, in the 3D embossing folder itself, which is really fantastic. And each design can hold an A2 size, so you can emboss all at one time. I also want to apologize for how I sound right now. I'm sick, so I'm sorry I sound a little rough on this voiceover. Okay, so now we're getting more ink blending going here. You could use bigger blender brushes if you wanted, but I like the little ones because I can add more detail, which I really like to do when I'm ink blending. Let's come in with that little pink. And then I can just finish off those. I think I was confused on what I was doing there for a second. Sorry about that. Let me get down here at this bottom, this last little petal, and I'm going to bring in that darker pink again at the base of the petal. So I had lighter going out, and then just at the base, I'm going to go a little bit darker. This is a quick and easy way to add interest, and your images don't look flat. They have some dimension to them just by adding a couple different colors, or one color and you go lighter and darker. Okay, let's bring in our next stencil here. And they are numbered and labeled, so it should be at the bottom left, so that way you can get everything lined up the same. And the stencil sticks to the grip mate, which is really, really nice. So we've got some of the flowers, and I believe we've got some of the leaves. And again, I'm going to use browns. I know it's weird, but it's so pretty. I love how it turned out. And then there's some die cuts, regular die cuts that I die cut, and I'm going to use these same colors. So I'm going to go this darker brown for the centers of the flowers. I think this is the second darkest. And then we have light. So there's 4 colors in those groupings from Pinkfresh Studio in their little ink cubes. And I was just a little unsure, but when I peeled back the stencil, I really, really liked it. So let's go one darker, again at the base of the leaves, giving it a little bit of shadow. So giving it some interest and some dimension. So let's pull that back. Look at how pretty that looks. I love it. And I'm just wiping off my stencils in between because I am the worst about cleaning off my stencils. Let me know in the comments, do you guys clean off your stencils when you should? I don't know. I think it depends on the day. Sometimes I'm really bad and I will pull out stencils later and I'm like, I didn't even wipe that off at all. I was probably really tired. And then other times I'm really good. So today I was really good, but half of the time I'm not. Yeah, so let me know if you guys are good about cleaning off your stencils. Okay. Oh, that's looking even prettier. Oh, I love it. I think I forgot a little spot. I love a stencil. I love a layering stencil. I think they're so fun. Okay, so now we have our stems. I'm going to go a little bit darker. I think we have some other areas of pink for some petals, I think. So I'm going with like the second darkest. I'm trying to get a nice good color on that. And then, yeah, here's a little bit of that purple on some of those petals. Okay, let's peel that one up, and we've got one more stencil to go. And this is the centers. And I'm going to go, oh, there's the leaves a little bit. And then I'm going to go, I think I go darker on the centerpiece. Yep, that's what I do here. So this is already die cut and colored, which is really nice. So if you're someone who doesn't like to color with markers or things like that, this is an easy no-brainer, just using a stencil, which I think is fantastic to color these beautiful images. Oh, look at how stunning that is. Okay, so here are the other die cuts. And I'm sorry, I made these cards a couple weeks ago, so I don't remember everything what everything is. I have all the names, but I just don't remember everything. So I do apologize for that. This is probably part of the Essential Envelope Everyday Add-On. That's probably what this is part of. But I'm going to use those same colors, do some ink blending. I think these die cuts are so pretty, these flowers and the leaves. I love them. So the flowers I die cut from white cardstock. The leaves I die cut from Alabaster because I knew I was going to ink blend them brown, and then that's a little less work I have to do if I want to leave like the tips a little bit lighter. So it totally works with that. Then you have the Envelope Everyday Add-On. Now I don't have the original, whatever that is, so I had to make do with this, but it was really easy to do. So I'll show you how I did that. I love these leaves. I think they're so pretty. So I'm just going, I don't know if this is the lightest color it might be, but I'm just ink blending, but you can see I'm leaving the tips that alabaster color. I don't need to ink blend that. So I already got 2 colors out of a colored cardstock and 1 ink. I love these leaves as well. And then there's some centers to the flowers. I'm going to go darker on those. And I'm going to add just some shading in some of those areas. I'm going to come in with a little bit darker for the centers and on these leaves as well. So on these ones, I really didn't leave the alabaster color, which is totally fine. Some areas a little bit, but they turned out so nice. And then let's color those centers. I kind of liked the cream and white. Okay, so here is that 3D embossing folder that you can put your pieces in. So the little pull tab piece there on the left, I don't end up using that one. I end up using a blank one. I just didn't like it. It was too busy. So I just die cut it again from Alabaster and did not use it on the background. But the little envelope part I did keep because it has the polka dots and I love it. I'm going to take a light brown and just go over the top of those polka dots just to highlight them, even though this is going to have a lot of flowers on it. So here's that other one that I die cut, but I need to trim it down smaller so I can slide it in and out on this card, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So on that tab piece, that's what I'm going to call it, I have a stamp set from scrapbook.com. This is called Blooming Sentiments. It's a big stamp set, and it says, and it's perfect with all of these flowers, it says bloom bravely, grow graciously, flourish fiercely. And I am going to do ombre, well, not ombre really. I'm going to use those colors that we ink blended the flowers, and I'm just going to kind of alternate the colors on that sentiment because I thought that would be kind of fun. And I do have it up high enough that you can see the word bloom when it's placed inside of the little envelope part. Again, I'll show you what I mean when we put that card together. How cute is that? I love it. Okay, so to slide that in and out, I'm going to get some foam adhesive. I am using 2mm foam adhesive, and I'm going to put it on the sides and the bottom, and then that will stop it from sliding all the way through, and then you can pull this out, and this is going to have your sentiment. So it's kind of like I'm in a loosely state as an interactive card, if that makes sense. So I'm going to place this on a diagonal. I kind of like things like that, but there is that embossed background from that embossing folder, the polka dot and Posy. And then I can just slide that right in. Look at how perfect that is. Let's get our flowers and put that together. And the other sentiment for the other card is also from the Blooming Sentiments. That's going to say sending you strength, which I think is perfect. And I love that this has, it's like almost like a little ruffle collar, I think, or a little banner, but I like that it's scalloped, and I'm going to place that here right on the edge, and I like it in the white. I think it's really pretty, kind of a nice contrast against that creamy color. Doesn't that look like a pretty ruffle? Like, I don't know, back in the day, the young ladies would wear cute shirts that had that. I just think those things are so pretty. Okay, let's get our flowers, the centers in our flowers here. We've got 3 flowers we're going to use. And we are going to, I don't know, just scatter this with flowers. I think the way it laid out was really, really pretty. I'm going to bend up those leaves just a little bit to give them the tiniest bit of dimension. And I'm going to lay this out. And then we can start tucking in the flowers. I'm going to use some liquid glue to adhere these down. And you can see I'm just adding glue right to the centers. Add a decent amount because you want it to grab, but it doesn't need to, the flowers don't need to lay flat to your card. You don't want them to. Give them some dimension, and then you don't even have to add foam adhesive behind these, and they will go in an envelope just fine. Let's tuck in our flowers, or these leaves. I think, again, I just think they're such pretty leaves. I love leaves like this. So I'm going to get all of these put together. I'm going to take one of these kind of little curvy palm leaves, and I am going to adhere one of those to the top of that little pull tab sentiment. And I love how that turned out. I think it's so cute. You can still see the polka dot on that background that we use the embossing folder on, which I love. Let me tuck this guy in here. I'm just using liquid glue at the base of the leaves, again, so they'll just stand up naturally without any foam adhesive. And I have one last leaf. I can't believe I actually used them all. And I'm like, where is this gonna go? Let me think. And then I decided to put it up there, and I love it. And then this will be on an A2 size card base, but you don't have to. You could just have that little, you know, pull tab with the sentiment, and you could write something on the back too. You could do it that way. And I'm just using my Pick Pro tool to lift up the centers of those flowers. And we're going to add something here at the end. Let me stamp my other sentiment again. It says sending you strength. I'm going to do that in black ink. And I'm just going to trim this out with my paper trimmer. This is going to be a tinier sentiment for that little floral arrangement that we embossed and stenciled. I'm going to get a nice, good, crisp black image here. And then let me trim that out. I do have a grip mate in my Misty, and it really kind of holds on to the paper pretty good. So let me trim this out. I'm trying to make sure I'm going to be straight. And let me get this piece off here. And I will add foam adhesive behind this and the flowers. And this has a polka dot background. I just ran it through that, through the die cut machine with that embossing folder. I love a good polka dot. And this has two different size polka dots on it, a larger and a smaller. So I have 2mm foam adhesive, and I'm going to put this at an angle as well. And this is really simple to put together. You just have your flowers, and again, it takes up a lot of your card, which I think is fantastic. And then I will have my sentiment. So let me remove that release paper and place that down. Look at how pretty that is, and I love it against that white. I'm gonna have to do more cream and white cards. You know, when you dress before, you would just, I don't even know if you can now, but wear cream and white just never looked good, but it's pretty in a card. Okay, I'm using some of Spellbinders gold sequins. I'm gonna add some to the centers of these flowers. They come in 3 different sizes in here, which I personally love. I love to have different sizes of these. And then I'm gonna add a few around. Just a little scattering on this one. And then we can take a look at these when they're finished. Look at that beautiful stenciled and 3D embossed background and the flowers. I love it. I think it turned out so pretty. And then we have this like gorgeous floral one with the sentiment that pulls out. I think that is just really a fun idea. Both these cards turned out absolutely beautiful. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these cards. I hope you feel inspired. Thank you again for watching and for all of your support. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.